Hello, I'm going to do the Capricorn and Libra connection reading, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take what does. If it does not, leave what does not, as that may be meant for someone else. All right, so we're going to get our Alice in Wonderland Tarot. We're going to look at what you may possibly be struggling with. We're going to look at current energies, what you may need to look at, and then we're going to look at future energies that may possibly be coming in for you. If you are interested in any of the cards that I'm using, just hit the show more button below the video, and that will show you, give you a link to all of the cards that I'm using. All right, so what the two of you may be struggling with is we have the Empress, but in this deck we have Alice, who is helping the Empress here, and she's really catering to this Empress, and she's having to button up her dress, and she's having to put on her shoe and tie her shoe, so she's having to do a lot of work for this person. So I feel like, do you feel like in the relationship that you're always the one that's having to do for someone else? Is that what you're struggling with? For what you may need to look at is we have the Five of Swords, kind of feeling like she's on her side and she's kind of keeping those two at bay, and they're not working, they're not doing things right, they're not, maybe you feel like, you know, what's not working within this relationship, what needs to be tended to, what needs to be discussed, what needs to be worked out. Maybe the communication is lacking, right? Sometimes we like to assume that the other person knows how we feel, because sometimes if we're with someone for a long time, we're like, well, you should know how I feel, or you should know this is the way that I am. But sometimes people just don't. Sometimes we assume too much, that, you know. But I feel like that's where communication comes in, and where that's very important. So for future energies, we have the King of Wands, and he's being kind of silly here. He's balancing the snake on his nose and trying to be funny. But the King of Wands is also somebody who learns from the past. And if this is the way things were going on, you know, all along and in the past, if that isn't working, then maybe it's time to change things up, to, you know, to get that communication going and to figure out what's important to you, how do you, you know, communicating to your partner about your needs and what you want. We have the Hierophant, and she's just kind of sitting there, she's kind of thinking, you know, by herself, and she's got her hands behind her back. I feel like it's kind of just taking that time to yourself and figuring out, you know, what's going on here. What do you know, if you're feeling frustrated or you feel like you're always doing for the other person, like why, like what are those things that can be changed, or how would you like that to be changed? Or if you feel like the relationship is one-sided, why do you feel that it's one-sided, and what are those things that you feel that should be changed within the relationship? And learning from the past, that if you've tried to do things in the past, or you've always accepted things from the past and that hasn't worked, well, how do you change that up, right? So we have the Sun card, feeling happy. I feel like you're not feeling happy. I feel like that's what you're struggling with, right? Is the Sun card, and that happy energy and that positive energy. We have the King of Cups. I feel like it's kind of, there's a lot of emotions going on. I feel like there's a lot of feelings going on. I just feel like there's some hurt, right? King of Cups could also be somebody who's very lazy, somebody who doesn't really make the effort. They're kind of aloof. They're not pulling their weight. They're not, you know, maybe you feel like that other person is kind of being aloof, and they're not taking things seriously, and they're just kind of being nonchalant about things, and they're like, and you're like, you're putting all this effort in, and you're wondering, well, do you really even care? Like, you know, again, I felt like there's a lot of emotions going on here with this Page of Cups. So we have, again, Cups, which is emotions, and I feel like you're just wondering, you know, is this a relationship important to you? Sometimes we get to that point where we're like, well, is this relationship even important to you? Is this something that you want to focus on? Is this something that you want to work on? You know, what happened to the friendship? What happened to the partnership? Maybe you used to have that, but that's kind of, you know, it's not feeling the way that it used to, that it's not feeling as good as it used to, and wondering where that went, wondering where that connection is, right? With that Two of Cups, seeing eye to eye. Maybe before you used to see eye to eye and you used to understand each other, and maybe that's why you were assuming that the other person should know how you're feeling, but maybe that person kind of lost that connection, or you lost that connection. Sometimes that happens with us, right? Sometimes we grow out of relationships. Sometimes we lose that connection with that person. Sometimes, we're not feeling the way that we used to feel about that person. Did that person do something to make us feel that way, or is that just us? Is that something going on within us? Is that something that you need to explore within yourself? Future energy, what is your Ten of Cups? What does that look like within this relationship? How does that feel? Where do you see it going? Is it reaching the Ten of Cups? What does the Ten of Cups mean to you? What are those things that you can do to achieve the Ten of Cups? We have the Death card, and that is you're holding on to something that is holding you back, but it's also about transformation and change. Relationships change. People change. Sometimes what worked before doesn't work now. I almost feel like with this future energy and the King of Wands is being kind of silly, maybe there's things that have become serious between the two of you, and it's been kind of heavy energy, but now with this future energy, it's like, well, it's time to lighten things up, right? It's time to have some fun. It's time to be silly. Maybe the two of you used to do a lot of fun things together and you're not doing that anymore. I feel like it's time for change and time for the good times. To change that up, we have the Devil card, which is the Capricorn card. I do feel that there is, maybe you feel you are chained to the other person, right? Maybe it's gotten to the point where it's like, I feel like I'm stuck in this relationship. Maybe that person feels that way. Maybe you feel this way. That you're feeling chained to the relationship. There's some sort of heavy energy that's going on here. I feel like there's a loss of something, and I feel like there's a loss of happiness and lightheartedness, but there is a heaviness there's just a heaviness around this. And I feel like that's what needs to be looked at. Sometimes we don't even know what that is, so it's important to take that time out to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel this heavy energy? What happened? When did it happen? When did it change? Was it something that you're holding on to? Was it something that happened between the two of you that was never fully worked through? Did you say everything was okay, but everything really wasn't? Someone's carrying a burden on their back. Somebody's carrying 10 of Wands on their back. Somebody's got, maybe you both do, right? Happiness, getting yourself back to the happiness. This could also involve other people, right? There could be other people around. But Three of Cups is that happiness, and that's excitement and getting that back, right? Getting back to your 10 of Cups, what does that look like between the two of you? How do you get to the 10 of Cups? How do you make that happen? What does that look like to you? We have the World card, that success and that victory, and we have the World card again here, and feeling on top of the world, feeling like you're working towards that. This is just a temporary hardship. This is temporary. This is temporary because I feel like you're ready to figure this out. Like, okay, I've dealt with this long enough. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I want to move on. That's exactly what I was feeling, is I want to move on and I want to figure this out. I want to figure out, how do we get this back on track? We have two 10 of Cups here. What does the 10 of Cups look like? How do I get it back on track? Communication is very, very important. Communication, finding that balance between the two of you. Maybe one person wants things to happen this way. One person wants, things to happen this way, but it's that compromise, because that's what a relationship is. And communication is extremely important. When you feel like you're by yourself and your partner isn't on your side, then that creates a lot of walls and a lot of distance between the two of you. It's open your eyes to, what are you holding on to that's stopping this relationship from moving forward, and open your eyes to, okay, this relationship has to change, because I feel like you're not happy in this relationship, right? Because you were struggling with the Sun card. If you're not happy, what are those things that you need to change? What are those things that need to be different? What is it that you need to handle, right? There's some tough things that you have to handle right here. There's some tough things that you have to deal with. And sometimes we're just like, I don't want to deal with it because I don't want to stir the pot, and I don't want there to be a problem, and I don't want to cause any issues. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that. So we keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And that becomes a bigger and bigger problem between the two of you. And now it's time with this future energy that it has to be handled, right? Work on it. Work on the relationship. It's time to work on the relationship. Maybe you were just kind of letting it, sail along, kind of do its own thing, and you're not really feeling happy, and maybe you had a lot that you were focusing on. Maybe you're focusing on work or family or other things, and you're like, oh, I'll get to it later, I'll get to it later. But I feel like now it's like, okay, I want change. If you want something to change, you have to make the effort to change it. You can't leave that to other people. You can't leave that to other things. If you want something to change, you have to take the steps and the actions to make it change. You have to figure out what needs to be done and what you need to do, and you have to actually take the steps to do that, to move on from it. All right, let's get, whoa, okay, a whole bunch came flying out, but this is the only one that turned over. We have claim your independence. So it could be like when we started out here with this Empress card, where you always feel like you're catering. Do you feel like you're catering to the other person? Do you need to claim your independence within the relationship and do those things that make you happy? Or not that I'm saying that maybe it's claim your independence that you want to walk away from this relationship, but I'm kind of feeling it's sometimes we lose ourselves in the relationship and with the other person, that we forget to focus and do those things that make us happy, that maybe our partner, maybe you like to play golf, but your partner doesn't like it. So it's like you stop doing that because your partner doesn't like it, but you kind of feel this emptiness. You kind of feel this loss, emptiness within yourself, because you're like, wow, I really enjoyed that. I really had a lot of fun. I felt like it cleared my head. I got out, I got exercise, I got fresh air. I was able to focus on me. And maybe you got away from that, and so you're missing that. And so maybe it's time for you to have that communication, that one-on-one talk with a partner and say, you know what, that was really important to me. It's not like you have to do it every day or every week, or maybe it's every other month, or whatever the time schedule works for you, but knowing that you're like, oh, I got that golf date set, so I can go do that. I can hang out with my friends, and we can, have a good day. Maybe it's, okay, I don't play the whole, I don't know how many, 18 holes. I only play 9 holes of golf. Or maybe I just go to the driving range and I go hit balls for 2 hours, right? And so, but you're still able to focus and do what it is. And that helps you to feel better, and that helps you to have that more of a connection with your partner, because you're doing something that is for you. So you're claiming your independence within the relationship, but it's not that you're trying to get away from that person. You're trying to enhance the relationship because you're doing something that's important to you. Because maybe, like I said over here, where you feel like you're always catering, maybe you feel like you're catering to the other person all the time, and you're not having that time to you to focus on what's important to you. Like I said, sometimes we lose ourselves in relationships. So, but it's time to claim your independence a little bit within the relationship, and that really helps in lots of different areas of the relationship. All right, thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.